Welcome to CRM Stories with me, Jerome Clatworthy. CRM Stories is a podcast where we talk with Salesforce professionals from all over the world about their careers and favorite Salesforce case studies. Today, we're joined by Mike Campagnolo from the Caddie Group. Mike, thanks so much for joining us today.
Jerome, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure. Excited to discuss CRM stories with you.
Beautiful. So whereabouts in the world are you sitting, Mike, as we talk today?
Certainly, yeah. So I'm located in Salt Lake City, Utah. And
Salt
then
Lake City.
our team is distributed across New York, New Jersey, California, and Utah.
Ah, cool. And are you a Salt Lake native or somewhere you've moved to later in life?
I grew up in New Jersey, actually, and then moved out to Salt Lake about 7 years ago.
Yeah, right. Okay. It's a bit of a change from New Jersey.
Yeah, it's quite different, but I really love it here.
Yeah, right. What led to that? Somebody or work you're doing or what?
What brought me out to Salt Lake initially was I was at Goldman Sachs for
Okay.
some time, and then
Oh, really?
they have a big hub out here. So then moved out for that opportunity, and then after that, progressed in my career, and then obviously started Caddie Inc.
Yeah, right. Cool. And before we get stuck into Salesforce, give us a quick snapshot of what life looks like outside of work in terms of partners, pets, dependents, hobbies. What do you get up to if you're not working?
Yeah, sure. I'm an avid disc golfer. I don't know if
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I really like playing disc golf. Other
Okay.
than that, a little outdoorsy, but yeah, primarily I'll play guitar,
Oh, yeah.
Musician, but
Nice.
big into finance and financial markets.
Yeah. You
That's
watching
about
Bitcoin
it.
at the moment? Is that much? I'm watching that pretty closely.
It's rocketing,
I
but
can't believe it.
yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
You
It
think
just
it's all
had
the ETF which is pushing the price action just at the moment?
I think it's probably part of it. Yeah, I mean, truly, it's tough to speculate, but yeah, I think that unquestionably, it's got to be a little bit, correlated
Yeah.
there.
Can't get over it. It's
Yeah.
distracting me from my work all the time.
Hopefully in a good way. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, how did you first get started in Salesforce or CRM? Or so, tell us a little about the Caddie Group. Is it so you're an implementation sort of partner in general, or what do you guys do?
Yeah, definitely. So we're an implementation partner. And then, do a variety of integrations, just servicing clients, helping them optimize their setup,
Mhm.
making it as clean and as frictionless as possible for their processes. I started in Salesforce in the first place kind of by overseeing an implementation some years ago when I didn't know much about Salesforce. And
Sure.
then, along the way, obviously learned more, got more, proficient in it. And
Yeah.
then
Okay.
from there, just like anyone else, you take your certifications, you learn more, you take more certifications, and
Yeah.
you become part of the ecosystem.
So were you doing a sort of tech role prior to that, or it was sort of a bit of a U-turn in that sense?
That's a great question. I was actually overseeing like revenue, like RevOps, I guess you would
Okay.
say, and then
Sure.
eventually, firm-wide operations for a company, and then at which point I was like, oh, I like really enjoy this, and I can
Mm.
use some of my technical skills to
Yeah. Sure.
create these really clean ecosystems for people.
And are you guys sort of focus on CRM type stuff, whether that be Salesforce or something else, or you do like just whatever the client needs, you have a look at?
Yeah, so we're primarily in Salesforce,
Okay.
but we've also created custom CRM solutions in
Oh, really?
Airtable for people, and some things like that are not out of the box at all. So we're pretty like software agnostic, I would say, in
Yeah,
terms
sure.
of what we deliver to
Yeah.
folks. We do some lifecycle marketing consultation too, but I
Okay.
would definitely say our like core driver at the company is Salesforce.
And I'm getting ahead of myself here, but you got me interested with the Airtable. Is that just where there might be a smaller thing and just needs something really, really simple, or is there some other use case where you find Airtable is a really good solution?
That's a great question. Yeah, simple cases definitely work well. Even some things that folks can scale into for a little while. We've like built out some bigger solutions as well. So yeah, you kind of both ways.
And I guess Airtable was like a spreadsheet V2, and then Salesforce is probably the next thing on from that, isn't
I,
it?
I
Like,
I
because
think
Airtable
that's
was so handy. Like,
exactly. It really depends on what the client's focus is. If they want something, quick, right to the point, and simpler, like you were saying, probably a good solution that we've helped develop for clients.
Yeah, cool, cool. So what kind of roles have you had? So obviously now you're kind of leading the category group, or you're a big point there. What sort of roles have you had in between? Have you sort of done anything and everything, or there's been a bit of a logical progression? Is it?
I would probably say, yeah, a little bit of anything and everything. I know that's a very broad answer, but yeah, so like I myself am like a certified like Sales Cloud consultant, so doing a
Okay.
lot of Sales Cloud solutions for people.
Hmm.
Um, and then yeah, I guess like my role in general is kind of overseeing the operation and then leading business development. I would say
Yep.
are my core roles here at this point.
So now you're sort of making sure the work gets done as opposed to hands on the keyboard all day yourself. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I think my hands are definitely still in in the cookie jar, I guess you would say, or whatever.
Yeah.
But yes, definitely, I would say probably primarily overseeing business development, creating those
Yep.
relationships, maintaining them, and then doing some solutions like architecting too, so that we can
Okay.
go back to our clients and then see, like what other solutions have come to market that they may be interested
Hmm.
in.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. Well, what we love to do on this podcast is talk through a few case studies. So specifically, an example where a Salesforce implementation has just blown a business away in terms of its impact on revenue or productivity, if it's more of an operations type implementation, and then an example where you've just found it really fascinating yourself, whether it be the products used or the nature of the solution you were solving, and then also an example of where something maybe didn't go so well and lessons learned from that and what you do differently now. Does that sound all right if we move into that?
Yeah, it sounds great.
All right,
Definitely.
perfect. So in terms of the first one, is there something that comes to mind if you think about, I guess, the many orgs you've been involved with where, the implementation has just absolutely blown the business away in terms of a, impact on revenue or operations efficiency or something like that?
Definitely. So probably the core thing one of the major ones that stands out for me there is we were working with a company that specializes in almost like real estate payments, I guess you would say would be the best way to describe it. And then
Okay.
from
Like
there,
rent and things like that or not? Not quite.
exactly like
Yep.
rent, HOAs,
Okay.
dues,
Yep.
and basically this company is specifically focused on capturing more obvious, in the event that their portfolio extends, having
Okay.
visibility
Mhm.
into how many new doors they have and can we go
Okay.
capture that door. So
Okay.
basically what we did there was we ended up doing like I guess a series of flows, formulas, counters, and um, basically incorporating a way for them to see how many like doors were out there that they don't have yet captured by plugging in and creating some integrations on their end.
Okay.
And that was really good because it helped provide visibility for their sales team on new
Mhm.
targets that they didn't necessarily have complete visibility to. And then
Okay.
from there, we piped that down to their revenue operations team and their customer client relations team,
Okay.
and then so that gave them visibility into it as well for cross selling opportunities, and they've been super satisfied with the results of that.
Yeah, right. And how much do you think that was a result of just sort of digital transformation in general, or Salesforce, specifically that product really brought something that nothing else could have?
That's a great question. A little bit of both. I think like the architecture of it was important on our end, and to
Mhm.
really understand the business. Something we really pride ourselves on is that we really get under the hood. Like we try to understand the whole company,
Yeah.
and then by us understanding the whole company, it allowed us to implement things that only Salesforce could have implemented, if that
Okay.
makes sense. So I
Mhm.
think like that's really the key to our success over the last couple years here.
Do you get much pushback when you're sort of trying to do that understanding? Do you find them going, "Hey, what are you asking me about that for? We're just trying to talk about
Right.
how to do this right here. Why do you want to know what color the walls are in the back office when we're just trying to talk about
Yeah.
this thing at the front?" Do you find that? Or
I don't really find that much pushback. Company folks are usually happy to talk about their processes.
yeah, okay.
I would say that it's then our job to take each of those pieces of information and then piece
Mhm.
them together into a fuller picture. And that's kind of what we think like we do well on our end.
Yeah, sure. And was there any sort of additional products and clouds, or was it pretty straightforward sort of vanilla Sales Cloud sort of implementation from your
Sales
memory?
Cloud, Service Cloud, primarily for
Yeah.
this, but yeah. So I would say like vanilla, but just a different way of approaching like what they things they weren't utilizing, like forecasting functions and things of that nature, and making that really work for the client.
Okay, so the out-of-the-box forecasting, you were sort of able to use
Yeah,
that sort of largely
exactly.
because often that can be a bit rigid and not always fit every
Right.
situation, but it
It
was all
it
right in this
it,
scenario. Yeah,
yeah, it was great for us. Exactly.
yeah, right. Okay, fantastic. All right. Any other reasons you think that was successful, or just really good quality business analysis and taking the time to do good discovery and sort of map out the end to end before starting to build?
Yeah, a lot of mapping out the end to end. I would also say client relations is incredibly important.
Yeah, okay. So you had a good
Yeah, and I think
insider to ask all your
yeah,
questions of, and they were
yeah,
engaged.
asking the right questions, staying in contact with the client, and yeah, just knowing that you're their your partner in it, I think is very valuable. I know it sounds trite, but
No.
nevertheless, yeah, like it really is. Like we always try to be back to a client at least within an hour of them corresponding with us, even if it's just something
Yeah,
as
right.
simple as saying like, "Hey, we'll call you soon," or like,
Okay, just
we'll connect
acknowledging
with
that, even if you can't
you."
respond in detail, just
It,
saying thanks for that. You got you, but we'll
exactly.
call soon. Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
talk in a minute. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of those things, of course, can be automated,
Hmm.
via Salesforce as well. But
Yeah.
I think it's important for us to actually like show that we're real people and that we're here
Yeah.
throughout the day. And that's been, yeah, I think like it's something we're very proud of, honestly, on our end.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Cool. Cool. And in terms of a second case study, is there one that you've worked on where just you personally just found it really fascinating, whether it be the tech side of it or the actual business itself or the organization and the sort of work they were doing and what they were trying to achieve from that,
Yeah,
just from a
yeah,
personal level?
definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a solar advisory client who basically um, helps develop infrastructure for major, for big companies, Fortune 500 companies,
Okay.
for their solar initiatives. And
Okay.
that's been important to us too, just seeing like some of the metrics that go into that and then building the right formulas um, around energy. Just
Okay.
something we didn't know anything about, admittedly, when we
Yeah.
started, but like learning again, like uncovering kind of how the company works, and then um, taking that and then translating that to a product within Salesforce was like really cool and
Okay.
just something that we weren't aware of before.
Yeah. Right. So is that in terms of the business of they're sort of harvesting solar and feeding it back into the grid, or they were just sort of installing things to help run their businesses? Like what was the
The
nature of the
la-
solar?
yeah, the latter actually, where they're basically creating like infrastructure like not Fortune 500 necessarily, but like sometimes, but for major companies,
Okay.
advising on where their cost savings could be, what the
Okay,
benefit
sure.
is, and
So they're selling
like
solar packages as a cheaper energy source or a better
it
energy source or something like that.
precisely, yes.
Yeah, cool. And so in terms of the calculations and the formulas, is that you guys just had to really get your head around
That's yeah,
intricacies
that's a
of the energy system and how things are kilowatts and watts
it,
and all those different things and angles and that, the nitty gritty of how they calculate benefits of
it
solar and that kind of thing?
Precisely, exactly. And that's what I was saying. It was so fascinating to me, just something I had never been exposed to. And then learning about how that business runs, like I mentioned before, um, like what their key metrics are and what they're looking for and where their RevOps metrics kind of land, and then
Yeah, right.
incorporating that into SFDC. It was just like, yeah,
Yeah,
it
okay.
was really cool.
Yeah, right. Fascinating. So was the key benefit of that business like it's cheaper for you to use solar electricity or better for the environment and you can tick a box on your corporate report, or what was
Oh
their
yeah,
main driver? Do you remember?
all of the above,
Yeah, okay.
honestly. Yeah, it pays for it's yeah, I guess honestly I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, probably all
Yeah,
of the above. Yeah, probably the
absolutely.
best way
Yeah,
to say it.
fascinating.
Yeah.
And so was it just the technical side that was fascinating, or are you sort of connected to that sort of sphere in general in terms of solar sustainability and stuff, or more just the technical side of things?
Yeah, no, definitely. No question, but I would say like even on the technical side of things, it was just really interesting to learn how some of these things work under the hood and just
Yeah,
something
sure.
like I said, something we weren't really uh knowledgeable
Is
of,
that,
which I
I
thought
mean,
was cool.
side question, just out of my own interest, is that a big deal sort of in the Salt Lake area? Because it's quite sunny for the most part, isn't it, around Salt Lake? Or do you have a big winter there? I really know nothing about
Oh,
that side of the world.
no, that's okay. We have both. It's actually
Okay.
hot as anything here in the summer, but then we have a big winter as well.
Yeah,
So
okay.
we don't really have like I mean, it's maybe probably a controversial thing to say. We don't really have like a spring or a fall that like lasts
Yeah,
very
okay.
long. Yeah, it's yeah, we're pretty like A or B here.
Yeah, right. Oh, fantastic. Appreciate that. And then last thing from, I guess, a case study point of view, is there something that comes to mind if I talk about, a project or part of a project that really did go well, and maybe, what you learned from that and maybe what you do differently as a result of that experience?
Definitely. So I would say something that's quite funny is that we've how do I say this the right way? But there are things within Salesforce that there's so much to Salesforce. It's just such a behemoth, and
Mm,
like we always like take on job, like we always approach the client and learn more about them and learn more about their business, and then work within their product suite. Sometimes we don't know everything about product suite, so I would say that a mistake that we've made historically is just um, is like working on product suites and then trying to basically like, hey, like how does this not how does it work necessarily, because I feel like that's unfair to say, but like
mm,
hammering through the trailheads for areas that aren't necessarily within our sphere.
yeah,
And I think like that we need to be, it's something to be mindful of, that like Salesforce is it's big, and it's probably bigger than you could imagine for some things, and like that's important to keep in mind. Again, granted, we always deliver, like we always like
yeah,
just we always make sure that everything's right at the end and everything's buttoned up, but there can be a lot to learn in a very short amount of time, and
yeah.
that's important to keep in mind.
So when you've, I'm just trying to clarify. So you might have said, yeah, we can learn that, or we can figure that out, and then it turns out to be a bigger undertaking to sort of
it,
develop that knowledge or
it,
navigate that cloud that you
it
haven't experienced than
that
than you may have initially expected. So you're just trying
that's
to
exactly
try to remind yourself to allow plenty of time in the quote, and also
it,
if you're taking on a new cloud that you've not worked with before.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah, I would say that's
Yeah,
probably the best way to describe it. Yeah, if you're taking on a cloud, definitely, like how to like knowing it and then knowing a little bit of like how it works under the hood is great, but you really have to be like an expert if you're taking on some of these projects, or else you end up just losing time and money by by basically like learning after hours, and that's not good for anyone.
yeah. Right. How do you navigate that in your sort of sales conversations if the project involves an existing org with a cloud you haven't sort of done much with? Are you super upfront, or you say we're competent in this and maybe we're not super strong on that, but we can learn it as we
Oh
go? Or
no, no,
how do you
no.
sort of present that?
Yeah, we're always upfront. We're always
Yeah,
upfront with the client. It's never a matter of that. We would never, we'll always be 100% transparent with the client.
yeah,
Like
sure.
that's the most important. Like I said, the most important thing for us is the client relationship. So we are upfront.
Yeah, right.
But like I said, I've stayed up, probably countless nights trying to like learn things on the
Yeah,
fly, and it's
a
like
new
okay,
product you've.
exactly. So some of those jobs probably like should like maybe like work with another partner to recommend in the future if it's just not
Yeah,
our
okay.
domain expertise. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's a good learning. I'm sure we can all take away from that. Well, yeah, that's the, I guess, case study discussions out of the way. Now I just want to geek out a little bit with a few sort of
Sure.
short and sharp tech questions. But are you an iPhone or Android? Where do you sit?
I'm an iPhone guy.
iPhone, nice. Seems to be the way.
Yeah.
Mac or PC?
PC.
Okay. And what do you guys use for your, I guess, internal tech stack in terms of comms, project management? What are you guys using?
Definitely, yeah. So we use a couple of things, but we use Salesforce obviously since we're
Okay.
partners, and like yeah, so it's nice that being a partner, you get a version of Salesforce, which is great. So we use a lot of Salesforce to do our internal management,
Okay.
and then we also use Airtable, like I was mentioning before. We
hmm
we do some things on that.
What do you find
Um,
that useful for that Salesforce doesn't do
mm,
easily?
yeah, specifically, I mean, we could incorporate it into Salesforce, but I like tracking like our almost like our it sounds bizarre to say, but I almost like tracking our billing more in there because it's
Okay.
kind of outside of Salesforce, so that we can uh have like a separate arena for
Okay.
things like that are more sensitive for clients.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. But I'd say that SQL, SOQL, obviously.
Yeah.
We use Jetstream to run queries on our
Okay.
end. Jetstream we found to be a really, really good tool for us.
I don't think
Um,
I've heard of it. Can you explain Jetstream a bit?
Oh yeah, it's just basically an interface for SOQL queries. So
Okay.
like rather than trying to think, yeah, I guess like it really just helps streamline like looking into a client's back end of Salesforce and then pulling out data and updating data. Um, Big fan of that and would recommend.
Okay. So not so much in is it more like point and click like the data points you want, and then it converts it to SQL, or it's sort of
It does a little bit of both. You can write your own queries in there, but
okay.
they help guide you a little bit as well. So where they have like what are you trying to do? Like, so I
Hmm.
definitely wouldn't say it's point and click by any, but like
Okay.
that. Yeah, but but it definitely helps. It helps guide you along the way a bit.
Okay. Sure. Very cool. And if you were sort of a CEO of Salesforce for the day, if you wave your magic wand, what's something that you would change that you'd love to see, or something that drives you a bit crazy you'd like to see fixed, or something? Is there
Hmm.
any sort of things that come up regularly? You're like, I just wish, X,
That's
Y, Z.
funny. Yeah, it's a funny question. Admittedly, I'm actually very happy with the relationship. So yeah, I think I'm all good on that front. To
Like
be honest
product
with
suggestion, feature, bug fix, feature.
product test features, bug fixes. I mean, there's a couple things here and there, but yeah, nothing that drives me
Yeah,
too
right.
nuts. Yeah,
Okay,
honestly, nothing that
fantastic.
drives me too nuts. I mean, I guess like going through Salesforce itself, there's always going to be a lot of clicking around. I think that's like
Mhm.
just high level
Yeah,
thing to say, but yeah, as long as you're familiar with it, you can navigate it pretty easily.
yeah, fantastic. And do you guys do much in terms of taking on existing orgs, or it's usually building a new org from scratch? Do you have much opportunity to take on someone else's work and then take it to the next level? Is that?
Yeah, we've done that for sure. We've like basically expanded on work from that other folks have implemented or developed, and then we've also started orgs from scratch where we've
Yeah,
helped them with their quick starts and just launched them from zero, and then continue to service that client.
yeah, sure. In terms of those cases where you've taken on an existing org, is there like a theme or a pattern that comes up in terms of maybe what you might consider poor practice or not ideal, that you're like, oh, I see that a lot, and I think people should be more
Mm.
aware of this when they're building from the ground up? Is there sort of themes or patterns you see that you think in terms of practice recommendations for other builders out there?
That's a really interesting question. I would just say that I've seen a lot of scenarios where this when people when people try to self-implement rather than getting an outside point of view sometimes
Yeah,
they don't sometimes they don't understand their sales process as well as they think, so then from
yeah,
there it like takes a little bit of deconstructing and reconstructing, just the way that objects marry up. Sometimes they have a little upside down. Like I said, no harm, it's like
yeah.
nothing we can't do by any means and help them
Mm.
remedy, but I would encourage people who are self-implementing or attempting to probably however long they think it should take to map out their process, they should probably take like maybe another couple days, like sleep on it for a few nights,
Yeah,
visit it again because um, you're getting it wrong off the bat. Yeah, it's tough to unwind, and then that would probably be my biggest recommendation, though.
yeah, right. So you think you can never take enough time to really map out the process before you
Yeah,
start tapping,
yeah,
before you start typing.
exactly. And I know a lot of orgs, especially when they're in hyper growth stealth mode, they just want to like go, go, go. And I
Building on the
encourage that
fly.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
yeah,
we move quick here for sure. But I would say
yeah,
that's one thing that's probably worth taking like another day or two to really, really make sure you're getting right off the bat.
yeah, sure. Cool, cool. And just on average, how many hours do you think you're working a week? What's life look like? Have you got a good balance, or
Not right now, but I hope to one day. I'd probably say, yeah, somewhere around 60 or so.
okay,
Yeah,
yeah, right.
60 or
So
70. Yeah.
you're up at the crack of dawn, or more so working later at night? What's your
Oh, no.
pattern?
Yeah, I would say I probably wake up a little later than the average entrepreneur. Not by much. I
Yeah,
probably wake up around 8 or 9.
that's
But
pretty good.
yeah. But then yeah, I usually work until like my last meeting today is going to be at 12 at night.
Okay,
So yeah.
yeah, right.
So we're really doing like all day long.
Is that
And
more
then we
so
work
because of the
weekends too.
client's time zone? You've got clients all over the place. Is that
Yeah, and just some things I like to recap with the
okay?
team and with my co-founder too. Like
Hmm.
we're really conscientious about talking about clients, but then talking about strategy going forward. And we always like
Okay,
to end our day discussing some of those things.
just more bigger picture, like category group stuff. Like where are we
Yeah,
going?
bigger
What are we
pic.
trying to do? Yeah.
Exactly, because probably our big thing too is that we're working on our ISV application right now as well. So
Ah,
just strategizing for that is really cool. And then kind of like how we're going to like what's the next like what how do I like basically what's the next like release look like on our part? Like where are we
yeah.
taking this next week? And we like
Okay.
to jam on that a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right. Oh,
yeah.
fantastic. Very cool. And what's the perfect day for you? Like door locked, just tapping on the computer, or you love to be on the phone talking and discovery mode, business
Yeah.
development mode? What do you thrive on? What gives you energy?
Probably the latter. I really like talking to people, like
Okay.
just in general. I like meeting new people and then doing some discovery and uncovering what they're kind of looking for and um, how we can help bring their organization to the next level is like what
Mhm.
makes me happy. But also, admittedly, I love being under the hood. I'm still like,
Okay.
I'm like probably an operator at heart, but
Okay. An
yeah. So I got
extroverted
yeah,
operator.
exactly. So a little bit of both.
Yeah, right. And how are you thinking, or how are you seeing the impact of AI so far, or where do you think it's going to go? How long until you think, the average administrator is going to see their day-to-day life change in a big way because of
That
what AI might be able to do? What are you
that
seeing
that's
so
a
far?
That's a really cool question, man. I think I think it's going to expand and obviously keep getting better and
Mm,
improving. But I've seen. I was working with a client yesterday on implementing response from ChatGPT,
yep.
and it's like it's working. Like it's
Yeah.
going. It's working. So I'm like, oh, okay, like this is cool.
In terms of
So
like just advice on data models, or like I find it useful for SQL stuff and formulas, like to
yeah,
quickly get something pretty close to what I need, or at least find the bug
actually,
in something I've typed myself.
right,
In what way?
right, yeah. So for them specifically, um, it's taking an input, I guess you would. I don't want to speak
Mhm.
about like
Yeah,
clients
yeah,
like
yeah,
too
yeah.
in depth, but it's taking an input and then it's basically making a decision about that and then
Okay.
redirecting that um, to the appropriate category or arena, right?
Yeah, right.
Based on like what a chat GPT has been told to do, or at least the
Yeah, right.
rule set
So
that
it's
it's learning within.
interpreting some stuff and then making a judgment based on its input. Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Exactly. So
Yeah,
I
interesting.
think that's pretty cool. And then obviously we use it just like you said, like help debug
Yeah,
us, and just like
yeah.
figure out what the
What's
hell
wrong
we
with
did
this
wrong. Yeah,
formula? Yeah.
exactly.
Where is
Yeah,
the extra comma? Where hasn't?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. Um, and in de- on it, it's something that clients have been asking more and more about.
Okay, so it's
So
coming up in client conversations there. Are they
yeah,
just like, how can we save money with this, or is it a big deal? Is it useful to us? What kind of
it,
questions do they got?
like yeah, how can we incorporate it? How can we help it help us? And I
Mhm.
think that's like really interesting. So like we do a lot of like discovery on that end as well, like trying to like learn more about prompts, like the best way to implement them, and then the
Mhm.
best way to incorporate it into CRMs, because
Yeah,
it is
okay.
something that clients are, like I said, very interested in.
Yeah, what sort of ways have you seen it? Like just people using it and then doing their work, or they're sending out via API and bringing stuff back in, or what sort of stuff have you
A
seen people
little
doing
bit of
so far?
both. A little bit
Yeah.
of both. Yeah, I've seen a lot of folks just help them aid their current day-to-day functions.
Yep.
Just like, hey, this is going to save me like an hour every day. It's
Yep.
awesome. But then, as mentioned before, I've seen it kind of hooking into different systems, I guess you would say, and then like helping them advance their CRM and what their CRM is doing for them. And
Yeah, sure.
that to me is like really, really quite exciting. Because honestly, that's the thing is obviously we love helping clients, but like if we can save clients a couple button
Mm,
clicks or say if you can save every person on a sales team 15 minutes a day,
absolutely.
it's a
That's
ton of money.
huge.
That's a
Yeah.
ton of money for the company, for them, in their
Yeah.
savings, and then helping them, do what they do well, and getting their focus back to sales rather than
Yeah.
inputs and
Do
operations
the
and
things
data
that AI
entry.
can't do, which is talking to their potential customers or their existing customers. Man.
That's exactly right, Jerome.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And aside from Chat GPT, anything else out there that you guys have seen which is proving useful, or is that probably the main one that's been trialed at the moment?
Um, I mean, for our clients right now, it's just that, admittedly, yeah, just the kind of working through that through some of its capabilities.
Hmm. Cool. Well, yeah, fascinating.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, Mike. Well, that's my interrogation complete. Please tell us all about Caddie Group and what you guys can do, and yeah, what you guys are best suited to. I'd love to hear more.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as mentioned, we're Salesforce consulting partners, so it's probably like our core driver. But then
Hmm.
we're also customer IO agency partners, which is a
Okay.
magnificent, lifecycle marketing tool. So we consult on that platform as well. Um,
And that
and then
bolts onto Salesforce pretty nicely to sort of assist with that.
yeah. So that you can basically use what's called their CDP pipeline, and then hook everything kind of together so that your your marketing tool is talking to Salesforce and vice versa. And
So does that be like a marketing cloud alternative, or not
yeah,
quite overlapping, or it is a less
no,
feature-rich substitute? Would you
I
say?
would
Or?
actually say no. I'd say that's fair. It really,
Okay.
it's an alternative, I
Yep.
guess, would probably be the best way to say it. But
Mhm.
they've been magnificent, and we have a wonderful relationship with them. And
Yeah, great.
they're just great folks all the way through. So we do that, but we've also done. So we're kind of like I almost uh, I kind of like to call us a tech solutions company,
Okay.
and because we've done SEO for clients, we've
Oh,
done
really?
website building,
Yeah.
just like like done random integrations across different platforms and helped assisted clients with that. Um, and like I said, we do some app building on as well on our end. So
So you got a
um,
few products in the works, or already on market?
no, not yet to market, but
Okay.
we do have one that's like coming. I would probably say in the next like 3 to 4 months, hopefully, if everything goes well, we'll probably have something in the marketplace.
Yeah. So do you have
Yeah.
in-house devs, or you've been sort of just getting in the expertise you need to build what the vision you've got?
Oh,
Is that?
no, we're in house. Yeah, for
Yeah. Nice.
sure. Yeah. So which is great because we've had like
Yeah.
close connectivity on it
Mhm.
all the way through, and then
And with the
yeah,
ideas, without giving away the secret
sure.
sauce, were the ideas just stuff that you did over and over for clients? You thought, man, why isn't there an app for this? Or just another
Yeah,
random idea you had that you thought, man, the world needs this?
that's exactly right. Yeah, I think that's the thing that you tend to see is that we have clients that range from real estate to finance and healthcare and so on. Like we're not really like we don't really necessarily have like one industry that we
Mhm.
hone in on. But what we have seen across those industries is that a lot of clients are looking for the same metrics and solutions,
Okay.
and to save the same button clicks.
Yeah, right.
So I would say our application is going to be a little broad in some ways, but um, but I think like very utilitarian for a
Okay.
lot of folks, and that's kind of like what we're targeting with like our first launch.
Yeah, nice. So you see that
Yeah.
hopefully as one of many, like to really build that as a big sort of pillar of the business.
Yeah, I think honestly it might end up being a lead magnet,
Yeah, right.
Like
Okay.
yeah, because
Yeah.
it's like one of those things like, oh yeah, these people saved me a button click. Let me go talk to them
Okay.
and see if they can help me elsewhere. So
Okay.
but yeah, so I guess we'll kind of see what like strategic direction we take that in.
Yeah,
But
sure.
yeah, I can definitely see it going that way.
Yeah, right. And what sort of challenges or what do you think category for most best suited to? Where do you guys really shine? Or
Probably real like if someone really wants someone to show up, want to learn the business and
Mhm.
understand it through and through, and then take that business and then translate it to the best user experience in Salesforce or in or in a different CRM.
Mhm.
Um, that's probably where we thrive the most. We're like very high touch. Like we communicate almost like I mentioned before. If a client pings us, we'll communicate with them within the
Cool.
hour for the
Yeah.
most part. So we're very high touch shop. So if
Mhm.
you're really looking for like a lot of attention, I guess you
Yep.
would say that's like probably where we're best suited.
Yeah. Cool. And where did the name come from? The business name, is that a golf reference or something else as well?
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking one day that, like what's a great example of a trusted advisor for someone,
Yeah.
which is
Okay.
our goal for our
Yeah, I
clients,
like that. Yeah.
and probably one thing that I like to think, and I think it's about our organization's identity and our brand is that like we don't want to be rock stars. Like we don't want to be like the rock star. We don't want to
Yeah.
be
Okay.
shining. It's much
Yeah.
more about making our client shine. And by design,
Yeah.
if our client grows, then we probably end up growing alongside them.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah, I love that.
yeah. So, um, that's like really what I wanted to message when we founded the company. It's like where it's not about us, it's about you and it's about your success. And if you're successful, then we're successful too.
Yeah, perfect. Love that.
Yeah.
Well, thanks much for your time today, Mike. Really appreciate that. Last question is anything exciting on the horizon, whether it be at work or outside of work? Anything really exciting coming up in the near future?
Yeah, definitely. Probably the most something interesting too is that, like I said, I came from banking.
Yeah.
So Caddy Group, well, Caddy Inc., I guess is like our government name.
Yeah.
But we just did our first venture round, funding a company
Oh,
actually
really?
from our company. So it's important for us to help other founders on their journey as well. So I think that's unique about Caddy Group.
Oh,
Like we're like
that's a really interesting
consultants,
crossover.
builders,
Yeah.
but then we also do some I shouldn't say we do, but we did our first venture capital investment into a smaller AI company. So we're really actually
Okay.
quite excited about
So
the
like you guys as a
prospects there.
company invested, or you helped organize funding like from a
Oh
variety
no,
of.
like, yeah, no, we the company invested
Okay.
into
Oh,
the
fantastic.
startup. Yeah, so we're
Oh,
super
wow.
excited about that. Um, so um, how do yeah, it's just probably something you don't hear that often
Yeah,
from.
absolutely.
Yeah, so we're really excited about that and the possibilities there. And I think as we go further, we're definitely committed to continuing to help smaller businesses launch as well. It's definitely part of our mission. And
Yeah,
then
right.
helping them too. Like now if they're like I don't want to call them a portfolio company, but like
Yeah.
if they're a company that we're investing in, then it's nice because they can lean on us for some of their
Yeah.
CRM
Yeah,
needs
that's
as well.
very much a shared interest in doing well, so you'll be
It,
more than happy
pre-
to.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ah, what a
yeah, yeah.
fascinating model. I love that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. I kind of joke it's like we do a lot of things, but we're excited about all of them, so.
Salesforce / SEO / investment banking,
Yeah.
who can mean that, who can match that combination, you get it, that's a real niche in the market, I'm sure.
It's a niche, yeah, but it's very calculated, I will say that. Like
Yeah,
we're,
absolutely.
with like so we're excited about it and we're excited about our
Yeah.
growth for the rest of the year.
Oh, well, that sounds awesome. Well, yeah, I hope all the best for Caddie Group and the mysterious seed investment. That sounds amazing, and I really appreciate your
Yeah,
time today, Mike.
that PR should launch probably in about 30 days. So
Okay.
I'll keep you posted, Jerome.
Yeah, do that. That'd be awesome. All right.
Yeah.
Well, Matt, thanks much for your time today. I really appreciate it.